HR issues can kill you. One complaint against your company can turn your world upside down. And you spend way too much time dealing with HR when you should be spending your time on making a profit. You should talk to Bambi. With Bambi, get access to your own dedicated US-based HR manager starting at just $99 per month. They get to know you and your business while providing HR expertise and the personal touch you need and want. They're available by phone, email, and real-time chat, so onboarding and terminations run smoothly. Team members reach peak performance, and your business stays compliant with changing HR regulations. And with Bambi's HR Autopilot, you'll automate important HR practices like setting policies, training, and feedback. HR managers can easily cost $80,000 a year, but Bambi starts at $99 per month. Schedule your free conversation today to see how much Bambi can take off your plate. Go to Bambi.com right now and type in Accelerate under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. Spelled BAM, BEE.com. Bambi.com. Type in Accelerate.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Welcome to Accelerate Your Business Growth with your host, Diane Helbig. Diane is a leading small business development and leadership coach, author, and speaker who is passionate about sharing valuable ideas, tips, and techniques with business professionals worldwide. Diane brings you the world's experts and gurus in all things business. Whether it's sales, structure, social media, planning, or plateauing, guests bring their expertise and energy to each episode. When growing your business is your focus, Accelerate Your Business Growth is the show to listen to. Got a topic or guest suggestion? Let Diane know. The goal is to make sure you have the information you need to move your business forward. Thanks for joining us. Settle in and enjoy.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. Today's podcast is sponsored by Audible.com, and we've got a free trial for you. So if you go to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth, sign up for that free trial, then go exploring. Check out the audiobooks, but also check out the other content that is there. The Accelerate Your Business Growth podcast continues to enjoy inclusion on lists of the best podcasts to listen to for things like small business, entrepreneurship, sales, marketing, social media, leadership. And that's because of the guests. These are folks who have expertise in particular areas of business, and they join me for a conversation where they share that expertise with all of you. Today is no different. My guest today is Sandra Long. Sandra is a LinkedIn expert, consultant, author, and speaker. Her business-to-business sales leadership background includes territory sales rep, enterprise sales leader, and VP of sales. Her best-selling book is LinkedIn for Personal Branding, The Ultimate Guide, which I gotta tell you is a great book. She presented the first ever TEDx talk about LinkedIn in 2019. Sandra and her company, Post Road Consulting, focus 100% on LinkedIn education and thought leadership. Thanks so much for joining me today, Sandra.
Hi, Diane. I am psyched to be here. I am also a big fan of your book and podcast, so I'm so delighted to have this conversation.
Well, thank you. I am too. I mean, first of all, LinkedIn is one of my favorite subjects, and your book is one of my favorites. I've even learned things that to do with my LinkedIn presence, so kudos to you. So I want to start with asking you about if you could explain to the listeners what the value is of a personal brand on LinkedIn.
Well, yeah, that's the perfect place to start, Diane, because the whole understanding the purpose of why we're even putting this effort into our presence. And actually, your LinkedIn presence is the perception that people often, you know, develop of you. They get their perception of you. They build an impression based on what they see on LinkedIn. It's definitely changed over the years in that now when someone refers you, when they mention your name, when you email or talk to someone on the phone, it's very likely that they're going to look at your profile to either validate you or to learn more about you or to see, do I want to call her back? All of those kind of things. So it's hugely important for today's professionals.
Okay. Now, talk to me about uploading the resume for the profile, because I remember when that's what LinkedIn told people to do because it was easy, so supposedly all of your information was on your resume. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that, just the idea of either uploading a resume or copy and pasting a resume, oftentimes people think of LinkedIn as really an online resume. And it's just, to me, that's a limited view because when you come to LinkedIn, you're trying to learn more about the person. And your resume is definitely your professional experience, but it's somewhat flat compared
Mm.
to what LinkedIn can be or any kind of social platform. So you're able to bring out your personality. There's a visual element, definitely, the visual element, the content element that you don't have on your resume. And it's also, you're writing in first person, it's friendly, you're the way you position it, you're able to uh, really position it to, to focus on the key audience or reader that you're interested in, and it can be tied to your personal brand. So it's really so much deeper and more powerful than a resume is.
Yeah, it feels like it connects more
Yeah.
with,
Yes,
right, whoever's reading it.
exactly.
Yeah.
If it's done right, it can serve to connect and sort of inspire. I always tell my audiences and my readers and whatever, I always say, you want your LinkedIn profile to inspire and motivate people, right?
Ah, oh, I like
Yes.
that. Yes. Yes. Right. Okay. So, what are the essential, sorry, the word I'm trying to use is essential elements of that LinkedIn profile?
Okay. Well, the I'd say the first thing you're going to notice is what's called the introduction card. That is the top of your profile.
Ah,
And so your headshot is there, your headline, a background banner. Also in that introduction card, you'll see a link to your work experience. You'll see a link to your college, your college will be listed, and a link to your contact information. So all that is called the introduction card. And that is like the first impression, right? All of those things. And it's partly, the headline is so key because you're positioning yourself with words, not just taking your title. And your headshot and your banner are bringing out the visual part. So that's important. But then after that, as soon as you start moving down the profile, there's very important sections. The about section is your personal essay. And it used to be called the summary. I'm really glad they don't call it a summary anymore because people, they used to think of it, they used to say, well, here's a summary, and they sort of repeat everything that's already in their profile. And to me, it's really your introduction essay. I think I wish they would call it that rather than about, but
yeah.
it's so important because you are really using that to tell your story, to build, that motivational aspect, and create that impression. So it's really important. And then now, we've had these special sections for many years. You can add in publications and, courses and all these other things, which are great, certifications, volunteering. But my favorite new feature that we got last year, 2020, is called the featured section. So it's my favorite feature is called featured. How confusing is that, right? But it's wonderful because you can feature a piece of content, a video, a link to your website, or a link to something that's important to you, a PDF, and it's very visible on your profile. So it's tremendous.
That is so great. Shoot, I had a question for you. Oh, I know what it was. So in the introductory essay section,
Mm-hmm.
is there value in adding media, like adding an image, adding a video, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so you can, the best place to add media is in the featured section.
Aha.
That
Okay.
is the best place. Now you can still add media underneath certain parts of the profile. And I used to, under experience and education, but I still believe that this new feature called featured is the most visible place. So if you've got
Okay.
a lot of content, you might spread it around your profile. But if you've just got one or two main things, you definitely would want to use the featured area because it's much more visible.
I
And
see.
and by the way, Diane, there's some new things that are coming on the profile that are not really rolled out yet. We're gonna have the opportunity to have a video cover that is a 20-second video on the profile. That's coming out, it's rolling out now. So there's some new stuff coming.
Wow. Yeah, it's sort of hard to keep up,
Oh
I
yeah.
would say, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just when you think you have it done, then they offer something new.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And I think I want to shift to the company page because this is a big question that I get a lot. There's a couple questions involved with the company page, but the first one I'm going to ask you is, do you think everyone needs a LinkedIn company page?
Not everyone.
Okay.
Not, definitely not everyone. I would say though, so I think where it becomes a questionable item for people is if they're like a solopreneur, they're self-employed. And, because here's the thing, most of your opportunity that you're going to get from LinkedIn is from what you do personally, like
Hmm.
your personal engagement, you're, connecting with people, commenting, posting personally. However, I do believe that company page is hugely important. I love company pages, even for solopreneur. So, I think, if you're on the fence about it, let me give you some reasons why you might want to consider it. By
Okay.
adding a company page, you will then have that logo on your profile. And from your personal profile, when the person who's visiting your page clicks on your logo, they will go over to your company page. And that's your chance to have a description and visuals, etc., about your company page. And certainly if you've got a team, definitely you want to get a company page because you're going to have the employees connected there. So there's no question if you've got a team. But if you're even if you're a solo person, if you have the time, I think it's a great idea. But I think your main energy is still around your personal profile, but still have a company page.
Okay. So then let's talk about posting.
Okay.
Okay. So, because this is another thing that trips people up. What do you post from your personal and what do you post from your company?
Okay, great question. I mean, and there could be some overlap, but think
Okay.
about it this way. If I'm posting for myself personally, Sandra Long, I'm often giving my personal reflections or I'm putting in my opinion or my personal spin. I might be telling a personal story that's professionally connected, right? I might be talking about a book that I read and why I enjoyed it or something like that. Whereas on my company page, it's going to be more specifically about the work that I do. Now, often, like I said, there is some overlap, so you have to kind of make the calls. The other thing on a company page, I'd be talking about my team, what's happening in the industry. So some of that you would do in both areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Because I think that's confusing for people too. And
Well, Diane, like so
yeah.
one of the things I really believe in is when you really think about your content, there's a lot of different, really brainstorm it out. I mean, I love to do gratitude content, meaning
Hmm.
I am congratulating someone or I'm thanking. Like I'm a big believer in that. And so that is definitely most of the time under Sandra Long. You
Yeah.
know, maybe I gave a speech somewhere and I'll thank the audience the next day in a post, right? So that's
Yeah.
clearly under my personal profile. You know, or maybe my friend just published a book, then I'm going to say that I read the book and I recommend it. That's a personal. So those are definitely personal. So you can think about those things very distinctly from the company. The company is really going to be more about, you know, not that you're talking about your services, but you talk more about the industry, your
Mhm.
team. It's just a different slant on things. I hope that helps a little bit better.
Definitely. Yeah, it definitely does. And are the spotlight pages still there? And if so, what what do you do with those?
Yeah, so they're not called Spotlight, they're actually called Showcase.
Okay.
And, you know, so for small businesses, it's usually not a factor, right? It's
Okay.
Showcase pages are typically for larger businesses that have a different, you know, different brands. Although some small businesses do use them. It just depends on the application. Um, company pages are going to be bringing out product pages. So some company pages already have that. So there's people are asking, well, do I need a showcase or a product? And, you know, so the product pages are going to be very exciting for companies to have, because you'll be able to have a video and get recommendations. You know, years ago we had product listings on pages and they took it away. So everyone's pretty excited that that's coming back.
Hmm. Okay. Great. Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. I'm going to take a quick sponsor break and then I have some more questions for you. Accelerate Your Business Growth podcast is happy to be sponsored by audible.com. And I am guessing that you know that audible.com has thousands of audiobook titles to choose from, but you may not know about the other content. There are podcasts, there's Audible Originals, which the name pretty much implies Audible is the only place you can get them. There's guided meditations and so much more. And for me, the cool thing is that you can get all of those things all in one place. So you don't have to switch platforms to go between different kinds of content. So head over to audibletrial.com/business growth, sign up for a free trial of audible.com, and then make sure that you really explore the content that is there. I think you are going to find, as I did, that it is tremendously valuable. There is just so much there for you to listen to, and in all different places and different ways. Today, we are speaking with Sandra Long about LinkedIn and your personal brand. So, Sandra, do you have a philosophy about how to operate LinkedIn effectively?
You know, I'm so happy you're asking me this question, because I do. And my philosophy, and it's my quote or my mantra, is be the friend first. And what I mean by that is, you know, I've seen people come on LinkedIn and maybe they even spend a lot of time and create a fantastic profile. And then they sit back and say, well, why isn't this working for me? You know, why isn't somebody mentioning me, or, you know, right.
Yeah,
Why am I
yeah,
not getting the job, or
right.
you know, so I believe the way that we can be most successful is be the friend first. So yes, you want to have a great profile, but by being the friend, you are being the friend you wish you were, you know, that you had, right? So you're the one who is, you know, recognizing other people, showing gratitude, being as helpful as possible. And just by doing that is my philosophy on how to be successful. And you know, it's really the opposite of, you know, automated. I don't believe in these sales
Yeah.
pitches that come in automated, or even like the immediate, like connect and pitch, like all of those kind of things are very totally counter to what I believe in.
Yeah, and I am so with you.
Oh, I know you are. I know you are.
I
I know that. Your book and everything. I loved it.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I knew you and I are definitely, on the same line here. People have got to stop doing that. And, for me, it's the same as, you join a chamber of commerce. If you don't go to the meetings and meet people and develop relationships with them, then when your year is up, you can't ask the question, how come I didn't get anything from this?
It is the same thing. It's 100% right. Going to that event, or even like signing up for that that chamber or whatever the event is, and
Yeah.
then sitting in the corner and not going out
Yeah.
and offering to help someone, or like hello, and
Yes.
and being interested in other people and all of that. Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And I think people for some reason thought that being online was going to be different from being in person, and it's not.
It really isn't. And
Yeah.
it trips people up because they're,
Yeah.
they're used to the real life, and then they think, well, online, I haven't got that figured out. But you're 100% right. It is the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. All right. So now let's talk about how should people be using it successfully for sales? Because as you mentioned, this connecting and pitching thing is horrible and doesn't work. Let's just put it where it is. But how should people use LinkedIn's for selling?
Okay. So let's think about the person we're trying to attract, that prospect.
Okay.
That prospect and the typical buyer today, and we're really we all wear buyer hats, and we often wear seller hats, right? But that prospect or buyer, why are they on LinkedIn? They're there to learn something. Probably they're learning,
Yeah.
they're building relationships, they're connecting. That's what they're doing. And so our opportunity as salespeople or business owners is to be engaged with those people at the right time, and so you can be engaged by you're connecting, you're messaging, you're commenting, you're posting, all of those things, because today's prospect, they want to work with someone who has some expertise, and typically they want to work with someone who's connected to their network, not some stranger who calls them on the phone that they've never, or someone who sends them a message on LinkedIn that they have no idea and starts that's not what they want. They
Yeah.
want to be in the driver's seat, and they're navigating around LinkedIn often, like I said, to learn and to um, enhance their network and build relationships. So being a part of that journey is the key part. So you do that with content, with commenting, with friendly messages that are focused on the buyer, and general engagement, and of course referrals. I mean, you can absolutely be proactive in getting referrals, referring other people, introducing other people, and also having other people introduce you to your ideal prospect. And because LinkedIn gives you, that gives you the pathway. It gives you can see your second levels, your first levels. And if you're handling it very nicely, there's no reason why you can't proactively be getting introductions from LinkedIn.
That is my favorite thing about LinkedIn. This is what I tell people all the time, that the relationships that you build then give you the opportunity to help people get in front of the people they want to get in front of, but it also helps you get in front of the people you want to get in front of.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think you and I met through LinkedIn. I think I saw your posting. Somehow I saw your posting, and I don't know if it was Debbie or what. I saw that, and
Yeah.
then somehow from a LinkedIn
Yeah.
exchange, we ended up connecting, right?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because yeah, right. So the other thing that I pull from that is that, people want to know you're connected to their network, but also to other people who they trust and respect and or you can put them in front of, who have valuable information. Like that's one of my favorite things.
Oh, I think that's a great point. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So boy, I want to ask you about content, but I also want to ask you about messaging. So let's start with messaging, because that's one of the places I think people are falling down. Uh, what is your advice for effective messaging? What would you suggest people do instead of what they are doing?
Yeah. So I am a big believer that you focus on you think about that other person more than you think about yourself. It kind of goes back to what we all learned from Dale Carnegie, right?
Yeah.
Right. Show interest in other people.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Well, instead of messaging someone and saying, here's my link to my webinar, or here's my, Calendly link, or here's my, such and such to download. No, I mean, you can so easily do the research on people
Yeah.
now with LinkedIn, right? We never had this as a tool before. So you can go on the person's profile, you can really look at them and see what do they care about, where do they work, where do they, what's their company about, and maybe there's a video you could watch, maybe there's an article that they wrote that you could read, or that maybe they're, if it's, say it's a VP of a company, and you can look at the CEO's content, and then you can refer to that. I mean, show interest in the person and in their company, and talk about that in your message versus here's my stuff,
Right.
and maybe, if you're interested in that company or that person, you can ask a question. You can explain why you're interested and how what you thought was valuable, just because people will respond to, like if someone, I get messages, if someone sends me a message and they read my book, or or maybe they saw an article or post, I'm instantly, I'm interested. I don't know if it's an ego thing, but I don't care. I
Yeah.
mean, they're interested in me, I'm going to be more likely to respond versus
Yeah.
if they're just writing about themselves. Make sense?
Right. Yes, completely. Completely. I do think there's this weird thing people are being taught, that the way they're supposed to show interest in someone is telling the person how they can solve a problem, but they don't even know if the person has that problem.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's nuts.
It is nuts, to some of the messages, and you know, right. Yeah, all these messages are ridiculous. But I
Yeah.
mean, I'm talking about authentically researching
Yes.
and having something meaningful and relevant to that person that
Right.
they care about.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And there really is a difference. And I think when we're authentic and we're genuine, people see that, like they get it, they can feel it, they hear it in our messaging. It makes all the difference in the world.
Well, yeah, and the other thing too is I don't do a lot of cold messaging. I don't. I mean, I would look, before I did something like that, I would look for introduction opportunities. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the first, because a warm
me
introduction,
too.
right, is always going to be the best. So the cold messaging would really be a fallback for me.
Yeah, me too. It seems like everyone's using that as their first line, but I'm so with you on that. It would be secondary for me as well.
Hmm.
I've heard people say that LinkedIn is becoming too much like Facebook. Do you agree with that? What's your opinion on that?
Well, I definitely hear that from people that have been on the platform for a long time, like myself. I've been
Yeah.
on it for a long time, and what's really happened is that people are having different kind of conversations on LinkedIn, much different than they used to. And I think it's definitely become more personal, more authentic, and there's good and bad. And I've seen a pretty wide gamut of that. And I think for each of us, we have to decide, where do we draw the line in terms of how personal. Now, I myself believe that it is good to have a thread of your personality, what you care about, your values, a personal story. I do like that, and I like, especially when it's tied into business and professional. But I definitely can see posts and things that I would absolutely not do.
Mhm.
Politics, for example, or anything that's really highly personal, whether it's your health or your family. I just don't post that stuff. I mean, I definitely leave that for Facebook, and I believe, I definitely keep LinkedIn professional, but a personal thread. But you see people, I've seen all kinds of things, and at first I was upset about it, I guess. I'd say starting around 2017 is when it really started happening a lot, because that's when the native video was introduced in this August
Oh,
of 2017, and people were doing all kinds of stuff on the native video. And it's really, now, of course, a lot of it is on the text posts. But I've decided that I'm not in judgment of anyone. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
yeah.
if if that's what they want to do, and a lot of people are having great success with it, then let them do it. I just feel like that's, we're all forging our own way.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to see pictures of pets. And I mean, I
Yeah.
love families. I love dogs and
Yeah.
cats, and I don't like seeing them on LinkedIn, but I'm not going to be in judgment of people that decide to do it. That's just what I've decided. What do you think, Diane?
So I don't see it as much as I was seeing it for a period of time, and it could just be the people who I'm connected to that I'm not seeing it as much. I guess I'm with you. I don't think it's a good idea for people to be doing it, but if it's working for them, okay, great. I prefer just to stay away from it. I also agree with you that that there has to be a thread of personal, because your personality has to come through. People do business with people. So you have to be able to do that. I just, like what I counsel people about is you need to have a professional picture, not a picture with you and your grandkids,
Yeah.
or, right? I mean, there's like a line.
Yeah.
So certain things I think, and then again, people are going to make the decision about what they're going to do, and they're going to have the consequences from that as well. So there are people who feel very strongly that they're going to put their whole self out there, and if people don't like it, then they won't do business with them. Okay, I can respect that.
Well,
You've
you
made a
bring up a
decision.
great point. I mean, it's a great point. It is a huge part of a person's brand. And in fact, in my book, which, I had just updated, when I first wrote my book in 2016, I didn't really even talk about this, but my new book, which just, I talked about this very topic that we're saying about that, the idea of the personal and where do you draw the line, because it has become a question now, and it is a factor in how people think
Yeah.
about you and your brand, for sure.
Yeah, it is. And it really can make a difference for people who feel very strongly one way or another. And so, you have to decide. You just have to know that, I guess, is really what it comes down to. You have to be aware that people are going to make decisions based on that for themselves. And as long as you're okay with it, okay, great. It's a big world. So those are my sense. Now, let's talk about content. I have so many questions about this. How often, what kind, where, how should people be doing it? What about these articles? Just, content, go for it.
Okay, well, that's a big topic. We could have like this could be a whole
I
episode on
know.
content, just so
I
you know.
know.
All right. So I'll just say a couple highlights on content.
Okay.
So the first thing I'll say is that I love that there's so many options and so much variety now. So you can do a post, regular text post, you can add an image, you can add a link, you can write an article, which is like a blog article. You can put a native video, you can do live video, you can do LinkedIn stories, and you can do polls. I mean, how great is it? I don't even know if I might have forgotten something, but
I think so.
they just keep rolling out these amazing content features. And the big news flash is all of those features and functionality, it's all completely free. Right. So
Yeah,
that's huge.
amazing.
It's
Yes.
absolutely huge. And, so as far as what's best, I think depends on the person.
Yeah.
Like if you love to write long form content, then articles are going to be great. If some people love gravitate toward the video. I think it's nice if you can mix it up. Document posts. Document posts also came out, I believe, in 2019, which is a PDF or PowerPoint. So, I think having some variety is a good thing to do, is to mix it up a little bit, but most people tend to have sort of their favorites. And as far as how often, it depends on the person. I mean, you want to post when you have something valuable to say. If you don't have something valuable to say, then just hold off a few days. And believe me, I do that sometimes. I'll say, I'm just holding off right now. That's fine. That's cool.
I
Right?
love that. That is such great advice. Yes. Don't force it, right?
Yeah.
It's going to come out wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I just love that. And I got to tell you, Sandra, I love your book. I love this conversation. And one of the things that I'm enjoying so much about it is how much you enjoy talking about it. You can hear it in your voice. It's so much fun.
Oh, thanks. I have to, I do love it. I have a lot of fun, and I'm just lucky and fortunate that I've been able to have so much fun with it. It's been a blast.
Yeah, no doubt. And, they change things, so it keeps it fresh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for sharing this information. This is incredibly valuable for the listeners. And speaking of them, will you tell them how they can find you and your book and, everything you've got going on, please?
Oh, great. Well, LinkedIn is the best place to find me. I mean, I am around, all the different platforms, but LinkedIn is really my home base. And you would put in Sandra Long. And if you are having trouble, because my name is pretty common, try Sandra Long, New York as a location to maybe help fine tune how you find me. And my book is on Amazon. It's also on my featured. So if you come to my LinkedIn profile, you just scroll down to my featured section and you can click right over to the book on Amazon. So, and
Nice.
I would love to connect with people. You can either choose to follow me on LinkedIn, or if you want to connect and send me a note, you just click on the more, and then that will take you so that you can actually connect and send me a note.
Oh my gosh, so great. And I'm going to have you back because there are so many more questions that I have. I don't like to overwhelm people with a lot of information because then they don't use it.
Right.
But there is so much more to really, maximizing LinkedIn that I'm going to have you back so we can talk about some other parts of it.
That would be fun, Diane. That would
Excellent.
be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Right on. And listeners, you are who we're doing this for. So thank you. I think you got some great points and insights today. Please put them into effect. I'd also like to thank our sponsor, audible.com. Head on over to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth. Sign up for the free trial and go exploring. Exploring is always fun. As always, continue to prosper and be curious. And until we meet again on another episode of Accelerate Your Business Growth, goodbye and good day.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Oh, that's a cheer we used to do in softball.
What? It's actually Geico's.
Whenever someone hit a triple, we would wave our bats and yell, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. But we never got to use it because we would only hit home runs. Annoying.
The phrase is from Geico because they help save people money.
Geico? Yeah, they were our team sponsor.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the name your price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Welcome to Don't Retire, Graduate, the podcast that asks you what you want to be when you grow up so you can graduate into retirement with a purpose and a passion, whether you're 25, 85, or any age in between. Gain actionable financial and mindset tips from your favorite authors, podcasters, and influencers to help you reach that exciting next chapter. Listen now and start building your path to financial freedom and reframing what retirement can mean to you. This is your host, Eric Brotman, reminding you, don't retire, graduate.